This is going to be a training video on the new reporting options that now exist in the FAMCare system. The first place that you'll see these changes are on your dashboard caseload reports, or in some cases the My Summary reports and systems, where you have hyperlinked directly to the report. It's a new look and feel. So here I'm just going to run one of these and show you what it looks like. You will be seeing this view a little bit later on when you run a quick report. It is a new option. So here, as you can see, the graph loads. You can reload, you can print, you can show or unhide the graph as needed. And if you scroll down here to the bottom, you're going to see how we can group things differently with the record counts, total record counts, and things are grouped on this form with a different layout and view of the system. You still have the option of using the old system if you choose to do so. Now, for the second view, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at our quick reports. Some people have a report list here. Some people say quick reports, some say reports and outcomes. It depends on how your system was configured. It all brings you to the same page. I have a favorites for that option, so I'm going to load that favorites. Here on the screen, you're going to see the same type of view that you're used to. You have a legend, you have search criteria, as well as this video will be linked right here for all future use. Down below, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run some sample reports. When you click on the heading, obviously you get some new reports that you can bring into the view. I'm going to just run a very simple quick report. This new feature will work on all quick reports. It will now work on the SSRS reports within the system or the advanced billing reports. But if it is a quick report and you come to the screen, you will have this option. And all of the reports work the same way. I'm just going to do a nice wide date range. And here is where you have the most flexibility. Now, if you would like the classic view, you select classic, and here you have two options. You can download it to Excel, or you can choose not to download it to Excel, just as before. If I click Run Report, the system's going to go out and run the report with the current view and give you this option with the print features up top. The second option that you have with the Classic is to check this box. When you check this box, the main difference is you're able to download it to Excel right there, just as before. So these options work the exact same way as they did before within your system. Now let's go back to this report. Here's where you're going to see now a normal view. It does not matter if you check this or not for the normal view, but for today's purpose, I'm going to uncheck it. The first option you have is you could run the report as normal. Now, when you run the report as normal, it's going to look like a little bit of a different view. You have all your options here. You can reload the report, and these are all pretty self-explanatory. But what you also have in this report is a search option, which is over here to the right. So now what I'd like you to do is look at the word Janie here. When I type in the word Janie and hit enter and search, it will make that Janie red. Anything you search for will be red. And you can search for different criteria within the system, and it produces the report as needed. The next feature that we have is what we call a data set. So now I'm going to run this report. Within the data set, there's a little bit more features. First of all, you get records count up here. You can show it. When you hit the plus sign, it takes all the fields that are out there and adds them to the bottom. So as you build this and scroll in and out, it will add the plus sign and it will add the fields so you can quickly see the results therein. Now, the other option that you have is you can sort on every column, just like you can Excel. It applies the filter automatically to each column, and you can filter on that as well. You can also do an on-the-fly group option as well. Before, the grouping option was coded to the report. Now it is dynamically built based off of your individual view. So if you want to sort on city, it will now sort it on city and give you a statistical record count of each one as well, what the average length of stay for that city member is, what the current placement rate is, the number of counts, the percentage therein, and these are the different cities that we have in the system within the process. Now, what you also have is an advanced search option. So let's take a look at the search options here. So here, if I just put in the word Trent, it builds on the fly everything with the word Trent. If I use the word Becker, it built it on the fly. I didn't spell it correctly. And then you will build it on the fly therein. So it's a very quick way to sort the data and look at the data within the system. The next feature we have is what we call a pivot table. The pivot table, now I'm going to run, and I can run it for any date range, but now I'm going to run it. When the pivot table runs, you will get several things as a base palette. You will get the total record count over here. There is no name set to this pivot table, so it's not saved as a pivot table. This is the main report and the heading. You have saved options. I have saved some for training purposes today. You can view the raw data by clicking View Raw Data, and the raw data will appear below, and then you can remove it. You can print and reload. Over here to the left, you have the fields that you can select to create your report. So let's say I wanted a client list of those 44. Here's my client list. That's the total number of placements over here to the right. So here now I can break it down to gender and or race. And let's say I want to move the client list up there. That's a lot of client lists. Maybe I want to break it down differently, and I can build it like this. There's a gender race breakdown of male female. If I want to move it out, I can, and do some very simple things. If for this I wanted to do a service breakdown, I can do a service breakdown of what services each one is being offered. And then if I wanted to, I could bring in the closing reasons as well. If there were closing reasons, none of my clients have closed. Now let's say I want to bring up a past table like client person. I can bring up that information. Here's a breakdown of every client, every service, every provider, their gender, and their start date. If I wanted to modify this to bring in the city too, I could do that and then rename and save the report. Put a comment in and hit save. And later when I run this report, for regardless of the date range, it will now be an option in my list. I can also break down to different percentages by doing fraction counts. Up here you have drop downs that you can do different types of charts if you choose to do so. You can also do different types of counts, sums, integers, averages. You can do fraction totals. So here I've taken the raw numbers and broken it down to percentages. I don't like this list, so maybe I'm going to switch it here and go up here. And now I have a much better breakdown of the total overall. I can change this if I choose to do so, and maybe I want to do rows. Maybe I want to do columns. And then I can do a different count here as well, or service, or I can just do the raw client count. So there's a variety of different ways that you can change and modify these reports. Now let's say that I have certain providers that I need to remove from this report because outpatient urgent care does not count. I simply click on the drop down and I can select none or select all. I'm going to select all and then remove outpatient and hit apply. And I've simply removed them, and then I could rename this report everything without urgent or bring it down to any way that I wanted to within the system. You can do this with any report. So in most cases, what we're seeing now is we're applying filters after the pivot table instead of before. If you wanted to bring in zip code, you could bring in zip code, and there's everybody's zip code. You could count it on zip code. And a variety of these different features do a variety of different issues. So here, if I brought down, there's another percentage breakdown. And I can make as many of these as I want in the system. Once you have security to the report itself, you can access the pivot tables within the system. If you have any questions, please contact your project manager and we'll be able to assist you and set up a training call to support you in your pivot tables. Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to speaking with you.